Okay, let's check it out.
What's up? CJ here.
I like this guy's mustache, by the way.
Got a little
cool
bit of
shit.
a different video today. I'm just going to rant. I'm just going to talk about my thoughts. And you can tell me what your thoughts are in the comments, whether you agree, disagree, whether you're feeling the same way, etc. But
And this got a lot of views, right? How many views? 200,000 views. Okay.
used to enjoy programming. Now, my days are typically spent going back and forth with an LLM and pretty often yelling at it or telling it that it's doing the wrong thing and getting mad that it didn't do what I asked it to begin with.
Especially since there's the study that came out 4 days ago that says being rude to AI actually works better. I've been shouting at my AI. I've been actually insulting it, calling it names, trying to get it to give me the right results.
And part of enjoying programming for me was enjoying the little wins, right? You would work really hard to make something, build something, or to fix a bug, or to figure something out. And once you figured it out, you'd have that little win, you'd get that dopamine hit, and you'd feel good about yourself and you could keep going. Now, I don't get that when I'm using LLMs to write code.
I don't know about this though, because I use LLMs to write code all the time. And I don't I guess I'm not a huge LLM lover, but I still feel that satisfaction feeling when you run the code and it works, or you're trying to fix a bug and it works. Even if AI basically helped you come to that solution, I think it's the same as before, where we used to search Stack Overflow and then eventually we'll find the perfect question and the perfect answer in a Stack Overflow post. But it still felt good when we basically implemented it and it worked. So I don't know. I still feel that feeling every single day.
Essentially, once it's figured something out, I don't feel like I did any work to get there. And then I'm just mad that it's doing the wrong thing. And then we go through this back and forth cycle. And it's not fun. It's not fun at all. Now, I tried to think about, why did I become a programmer? Why did I do this job? Why have I done it for so long? Why did I make this my career? And you might have different reasons for this, but one of the reasons I like programming is because it is predictable, it's logical, it is knowable. You can look into the documentation for something, or look under the hood and look into the source code, or decompile something, or watch network traffic. Like, you can figure things out. And once you have a good idea of how a programming language works, or how a system works, or how an app works, you can be sure that it's going to work that same way the next time you look at it. And that's because computers are logical systems. Programming languages are logical, formal logical languages. And that works really well with my brain. Now, when we're working with AI and LLMs, it's not predictable, right?
It's basically talking to someone that can say anything at any moment and just do wild shit.
The exact same prompt and get a different response every single time.
Yep.
And I think this is where some of my frustration is coming from, because I am trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to develop workflows and be a prompt engineer or a context engineer, but doing the exact same things is producing different results. And honestly, that's not what I signed up for, right? And
I disagree with this because, again, in the past, I would say 60% of programming has always been searching the internet, trying to find someone that has the same problem as you, or trying to find code on GitHub where someone is trying to solve something you've already solved. And again, that wasn't 100% certainty. Sometimes you read a post or solution to a problem and then you implement it for yourself and it doesn't work. And then you find another one and someone's saying something else. So I feel like there's always been this back and forth with trying to find solutions to things. So I don't know. Again, I don't know how much this has changed. I'm curious if he gets into this, but I still feel like it's not that different.
You could chalk it up to skill issue, but just look at the evidence, right? So if you're chronically online like I am, and you're watching all of these tweets that come out from people and posts that are just talking about, oh, you have to write this specific prompt or use this specific workflow and it'll start working, and if you're not doing it, then it's a skill issue. I've tried it. I've tried so many different things. I found things that have sort of worked, but then they stopped working. Or I've been working with in a specific model like GPT-4o or GPT-5, and all of a sudden I'm getting different outputs.
True.
Right? Because I'm not.
This is what I felt with the GPT-5 updates, because I used to love the GPT-03 model. I actually felt like that was the smartest model and it solved all my programming problems. And I came up with like a really good strategy. I'll try it with Claude first. If Claude didn't work, then I'll give it to O3. O3 took a bit longer, but that was okay because it's only solving the hardest problem. But now with GPT-5 and the deep thinking, extended thinking, I just feel like it's not the same. It just completely ruined my model, my whole like workflow of solving these problems. It was good back in the days, and they update the model and I'm like, wait, what's going on? Why has this suddenly just got a lot more stupid than before?
Control of that LLM. It's a magic box hosted in the cloud that can change at any moment, but it's always called the same thing, GPT-5 or Codex, whatever, or Sonnet 4.5, right? They put this little name on it, but that doesn't mean it's going to be the same every time. They're constantly tweaking the model, which means you're going to get different outputs for the things that you're running.
True.
Now, I'm looking at my notes because I'm trying to rant, but I have a lot that I want to say. Yeah, I have a note here. I mean, I don't know how you're going to agree with this, but it kind of feels like AI-based programming has become kind of like a religion, right? You have all these big popular people on Twitter. They're kind of like the religious heads that come up with ways of working and tools that you should be using. And if you follow their patterns and you follow their tools, then magically your code will start to work.
This is why I don't follow a lot of these people on Twitter, and on Instagram too. I skip a lot of these videos because at the end of the day, they are incentivized to make new posts, go viral on Twitter, say things that are completely opposite to what other people are doing. And then if you start listening to these people, you basically end up doing like crazy stuff that doesn't actually work because, again, they're just literally trying to go viral. So they will say something crazy like, stop prompting like this. It's completely useless. Do this instead. No, it's not useless. You're just saying that just so you get views on Twitter. So yeah, don't follow these people. I feel like either delete Twitter or just like stop following all these prompt gurus. Just do it yourself, see what works, and then just keep doing what works until they update it to GPT-5 and ruin everything, of course.
And if you use these specific incantations or prompts, you'll get specific types of outputs. But it's just not predictable. You don't get those same outputs. And people chalk it up to skill issue, but I've worked with it long enough and tried it long enough that I'm kind of done. And to prove it,
kind of feel sad for him.
Go through all of the things that I've figured out and all of the things that I do when I'm working with AI to write programs, because you can tell me, am I missing something? And also maybe you can learn something because I've been spending a lot of time with these tools and trying to figure out workflows. So here's what I know. If you're working with Claude or any other editor, like Claude is a CLI tool, you could use an editor like Cursor or whatever else. They typically have some kind of markdown file. You can put a bunch of information in. So with Claude, it's claude.md.
Yeah.
You can also use agents.md. In Cursor, there are Cursor rule files. But basically, the idea with these files is you can put a bunch of things in there that try to make the work with this AI more predictable, right? You can talk about what tools do you use, what patterns do you use, what libraries do you use, what dev commands there are, what's the architecture of the app. You can put all of this in these files, and AI is supposed to use that to steer it in the right direction when it's working on your app.
Yeah, I actually do this a lot. And I think, so for example, where I've used this is, I use TRPC to connect my front end to my back end. And every time I like ask Claude something, it's always trying to re-implement the fetching methods rather than just using TRPC. So I just added it to the rule.md file. It also, like, I don't know if I'm unique in this style of thinking, but I hate when the function definition comes above the functions that are using it. I actually prefer the function definition to come below, but every time AI writes code, it usually puts the function definition above. And I've tried everything. I've added it to rule.md file. I've just tried everything. I've put it in all caps. I've said very, very important, but it still puts the function definition above it. So maybe I'm just coding in a complete different way to normal people. But I think it makes sense because I feel like the way I read code is I look at a function and then I understand what it's doing, and then I basically see a function that it uses, and I read that next, right? I don't read in the opposite way. I don't look at a function and then look at what uses it. I look at a function and then look at the functions that it uses, if that makes sense. But maybe I'm unique. I don't know. But yeah, that's some examples of the things I've added to my rule.md file.
And also AI tools can actually automatically generate these. So you don't even have to work hard to build out these files. It can generate them, you can validate them. And now, in an ideal world, you have told the AI how it should work and what it should do. In my experience, it doesn't listen to what I've put in those files.
Yeah, that's literally what I was just saying, because again, I put that function thing in the file and it ignores it. I'm not going to lie. I think the TRPC worked, but the function definition after yeah, that has not worked for me.
And I think this comes down to context bloat, which is a whole other
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
But I have worked so hard at crafting like the perfect Claude.md and the perfect cursor rules, but still every now and then the AI will drift and run commands I told it not to, or do things in a way that I told it not to. And I have no fix for this. So that's extremely frustrating.
But again, I wouldn't say like AI coding sucks because of that, right? Like at the end of the day, it's just a tool. Tool makes mistakes sometimes. It's still a lot faster than when we used to search Stack Overflow and do all these crazy things before. The way I see AI is I just feel like AI basically replaces me going on Google and searching for something. It's basically like, it's like one massive compressor that's basically just compressed the whole internet. And now when I have a problem, I can just put it in there and it will find Stack Overflow, find all the like documentations. And if it doesn't exist on the internet, guess what? Usually AI has no good solution. So I feel like it's literally just one big Stack Overflow. I don't treat it any differently. I know people want to say it's smart, it's this, it's that. I think it's just compressed the information and it's just spitting it out. And that's basically it. So sometimes you try to use it, it doesn't give you the right information. Cool, it's just like back in the days, you just code it yourself and figure it out yourself.
The other thing is when you're working with AI, don't ask it to just code without making a plan first. So this is my approach to
I don't do this.
building and working on things with AI is I'll ask it to build I'll ask it to come up with a plan. So I'll say, plan this out. This is what I want to build. This is what we want to do. Let's come up with a plan. And typically I tell it to write that into a markdown file. So plan.md. Because I don't want to lose that in the chat window. I want that to be basically a part of my code base that describes what we're building and what's coming next, what are the different phases. And AI is pretty good at coming up with this. And then I have to do the work of validating it and making sure that it's a good plan. And then from there, don't just immediately say, okay, the plan is good. You obviously have to approve it and then gradually work through the plan. You wouldn't just say, okay, now go implement this 30-step plan. You would work on one step at a time. You would tell the AI to work on a specific phase, you validate its output, and then you'd move on. I've done this for lots of apps, and it works for some, but again, every now and then it starts to drift, right? The same prompt gives me a different output. Or the rules that I gave it, it starts to drift from it. It doesn't follow those anymore. And there are
I don't really understand why people do this like planning stuff, because I've never had to use it, but maybe it's because I don't have AI do like too many changes in one go. I usually do things in order. So for example, I'll say implement this backend and I'll say implement the front end for this backend. Like I don't really do everything in one go. I don't know if I'm being silly here, but I've never had to do this. Secondly, Cursor usually makes its own plan. So I usually just look at the plan to quickly see is it going in the right path. If it's not, I stop it and I just like refine my prompts to make sure it's actually like working properly.
Tools that have been built that allow you to work in this way specifically, right? So Kiro was one of the first to popularize it, but GitHub has come out with, I think it's called like SpecKit. You might see on the channel that Scott is actually working on his own list of open code commands and agents that kind of like give you this more structured flow for working with AI. And I think it's like, it basically makes you feel like you're doing the right thing because you're gradually working through steps. But there are so many places where an AI could do the wrong thing and you don't realize it because you become so accustomed to kind of just like accepting the output or not completely validating everything. And so for me, spec-driven flows are decent, but they're not perfect. And I've gotten better results by just writing it myself and not having to depend on the AI. The other thing is you typically work on the smallest feature possible, right? Don't tell AI to go off and build your entire app with a single prompt.
There we go.
You're prompting it with very specific things that it should do and not allowing it to do big full sweeping changes.
I feel like the people that do that are like the vibe coders that don't actually know how to code. But if you know how to code, you should be coming up with a plan. Maybe if you don't understand a part of the plan, you can ask for like guidance, I guess. But you should be coming up with the plan and then it helps you implement the plan.
I've worked with AI this way a lot as well. And then the other thing is getting AI to validate itself. So, right, so AI can write tests. So you have it write tests so that way you can run the test to make sure that the code that it just wrote is actually working. It can also do interactive debugging. So I have MCP servers set up that allow it to launch a web browser. So I use the Playwright.
Oh,
MCP.
cool.
So when it's building out a web app, it can actually, after implementing a feature, launch the browser, click on buttons.
This would be cool.
Sure
I don't actually do this, but this would be cool.
Expected. However, a lot of these AI models are typically like they're goal seeking, and their goal is to get things working, which means they will write tests that are not logically sound, right? Or they'll write simple tests that actually skirt specific edge cases so that the tests will pass. Or the worst thing that I cannot get AI to stop doing is when it's writing TypeScript code, if it can't get the TypeScript to work,
It would just put, I'm going to guess what he's going to say. He's probably going to put, what's it called? Like, it'll basically just comment out TypeScript. It'll say, don't use TypeScript. I forgot what it's called, but it really annoys me when it does this.
put in the any type and be like, oh, we'll fix that later. Or the other thing it'll do is it'll comment, if it can't get a test to pass, it'll comment out that test and be like, oh, I couldn't get the test passing, but I commented it out and now everything's working.
What the
And
flip?
it just drives me insane. But I think it's because these models are like too highly tuned to be goal seeking, right? They're not actually trying to figure out the problem or write really good tests or actually solve these things.
Again, the way I solve this on my end is the moment you see the AI going in circle, like the moment it's like come up with a problem and then it tries to solve it. Once it's good, but the moment you see it try to do it twice, stop it. After, if it tries once and it doesn't work, the third time, fourth time, it's going to start going crazy. It's going to start changing a bunch of code before, like, it'll basically just start rethinking the whole thing. So the moment I see it struggle once, maybe maximum twice, I stop it and I look into it and I try to figure it out myself, basically. Just don't give it free rein or else you're just going to end up in the loop of death.
They're just trying to get to a point where they can stop running and say, hey, I'm done. And it's very frustrating. And then the other thing you do is agentic workflows. This is the new hotness, right? Everybody's writing their own custom agents. And I tried this out in Cloud Code. They were one of the first to add agents. And you can basically try to solve this context problem, right? So you can have Claude.md, but sometimes Claude.md might get too big, or your cursor rules, you might have too many. But with agent files, you can create specific agents like a UI expert or a test expert or a database expert. And each one of those agents can have its own specific description.
I might be doing AI coding wrong because how have I not heard about any of this stuff? Like, I literally, what the hell is making your own agent in Claude to help you with code? I've not seen any of this. This is, maybe I'm not using it enough. Maybe I'm still writing too much code. Maybe I need to go back and just rethink my whole workflow.
Description. And can also have notes about architecture in the app or how it should work or what tools it should use for those specific types of things. And that makes it so that sometimes, or for the most part, it'll try to do the right thing because it's not trying to cram the entire list of cursor rules or the entire Claude.md into the prompt. It's just the prompt for those specific agents. And that seems to work okay. But again, I run into issues where the agents are running the wrong commands or not writing good tests. And it just hasn't worked for me. Again, you could chalk it up to a skill issue, but I've tried it and they really don't work that well. So these are all the things that I do to try and make AI work. There's probably other stuff that I missed here. If you do other things that I haven't listed, please let me know in the comments, because this is the current knowledge and state of things as I know it, right? This is how we should be working with AI. And personally, it just doesn't work as good as they say it should. And I don't enjoy it.
I feel like this guy, what's his name? Is his name Syntax? Let's just call him Syntax. I think he doesn't think coding sucks. I think he's seen people saying how amazing coding is and how much they do with it. And he's comparing himself to those people, and then he's thinking it sucks for him, but it's good for other people, so what's going on? But I think from my point of view, again, I don't speak for the whole developer community. I think based on what he's saying, coding, AI coding doesn't actually suck for him. It's pretty good. It sounds like it's working like as well as it should be working, basically, and it's helping him, or else he would not be using it. So yeah, I feel like this comparison is what is stealing his joy right now.
So that's my main point there. Yeah, and so my other point here is, okay, I just rallied off all this stuff that I know about AI and all this things I've been doing to work with it to try to get it to work. And typically what you would see online is if you haven't been using these tools and you haven't been trying them out and trying these specific flows, you're falling behind. You're going to become basically useless developer that's not up to date on the times and that like can't use these tools and can't work in the right way. And I disagree. All of the stuff that I just listed off, I could learn in a week or less, right? Because as programmers, as developers, we spend our entire careers figuring things out, right? It's literally part of our job. And all of the stuff that I just listed are things that you could figure out. It's not something that you need to spend a year with. I'm confident that I could spend a week with this stuff and still be getting the same results that I'm getting now. So the argument that if you don't stay up to date on this stuff, or if you're not using these flows, you're going to fall behind, I think is invalid because of who we are. Now, if you're completely new to programming, I don't have any advice for you. I don't know what to say because you kind of actually I do have advice. My advice is learn to actually program. Don't just try to vibe things because
Yeah, of
you're going to
course.
hit walls where the AI can't figure it out, and then you're not going to be able to figure it out either.
I actually think about that sometimes. I'm so glad AI did not exist when I was learning how to code, because I think I would definitely not have become a good engineer, because the only reason I started coding in the first place, I wanted to build applications. I didn't really care about the coding part of it. It's only after time I started enjoying that. Whereas if AI existed and I could just vibe code, I would have 100% vibe coded, because again, all I wanted to do was just build things with it. Then I wouldn't understand the code. I wouldn't understand what's going on. I would just become a really good vibe coder. So I'm happy I understand coding, and now I can like use AI on top of that to like be even better.
And the thing is, I rarely hit those walls because when AI can't figure it out, I figure it out because I've been doing this for a long time. So yeah, that's my advice for any of you that are new to the field is just learn the field without AI, because that's what the rest of us did, and it works. It works.
I think this should not be titled AI coding sucks. I think this should be titled AI coding does not meet my expectation or the expectation that other people have set for me. So it must suck. I think this guy should get off Twitter or stop following those people that are making all those posts about how to use AI properly. And he should just like think about, okay, this is how long it used to take me to do this thing. Now with AI, do you do it faster or do you do it slower? If you do it faster, then it doesn't suck. If you do it slower, then it does suck. And I would guess it's probably way faster than before. So yeah, I don't know. AI coding doesn't suck. It's not going to take any job, but I think it's definitely an amazing superpower that we developers now have.